exhilarating first 3 rounds in the Amped Mobile Supercross Light Series. We've seen 3 different riders take the checkers first. Andrew Short, Nathan Ramsey, and Grant Langston. They have all found themselves in the top spot. SBC Park marks the halfway point for the West region, and the battles just keep getting better and better. Who will come out on top tonight? Find out right now on Speed. The Amped Mobile AMA Supercross Lights West Coast Series is set to splash their way through a muddy SBC Park in San Francisco, California. Round 4 of the series will be a challenge of determination and survival for the riders and the fans as they battle the elements in the city by the bay. Hi everybody, I'm Ralph Shaheen alongside former Supercross Lights champion Denny Stevenson. And as you can see over our shoulders, it's a nasty, nasty night here in San Francisco. So Denny, obviously the weather is going to be a huge part of tonight's story.
Yeah, I think you can basically throw out what we've learned these past 3 races. The mud and rain is going to be the great evening factor tonight.
Well, what's going to happen with the racetrack that's going to help even this playing field?
Well, it's definitely going to break down as the night goes on. Ruts are going to develop in the corners, on the faces of the jump. Just surviving that 15-lap main event is going to be the key.
Let's show you how tight the point standings here are for the West Coast riders as we take a look at our Supercross Lights Amped Mobile West Point standings. Andrew Short, Grant Langston tied right at the top. Billy Laninovich just 3 behind him. And Nathan Ramsey right in the thick of the fight as well with 3 rounds in the books. Now let's shift you over to our road to the main tonight. There'll be 2 heat races, 6 laps each, 26 riders. Bigger field here tonight. Top 9 advancing straight to the main. Our last chance qualifier, 4 laps, 34 riders tonight. Top 4 advancing to the main. It'll be a 15-lap, 22-rider main event here tonight in San Francisco. Denny, the rain's been coming down for nearly 4 hours now here in San Francisco. How's that going to affect our racetrack?
Well, an easy equation, Ralph. Water and rain make mud. So we're going to have a lot of rain, a lot of standing water. You get a bad start, your vision's going to be gone. You get on the first turn, reaching for tear-offs, reaching for roll-offs. It's going to be a key tonight, getting a good start, avoiding this mud.
Let's head downstairs to Chris Devoto with our Progressive Direct pre-race report.
Yeah, visibility will definitely be limited. How much so? Well, this is the view the riders will have. And guys, this is just water. That's not counting the fog, the mud. You talked about tear-offs. They're going to have more than usual. They'll tear them off as they go. And then these Scott goggles also have what's called a Scott work system. What is that? Well, with each one of these pulls, see this over here? It's a new perforated vented film that'll pop up with each pull, 32 pulls in all, and you can bet they're going to have probably 3 or 4 tear-offs gone right in the first turn.
All right, let's take a look at tonight's Dunlop starting list for heat number 1. And Grant Langston is going to be a big key in this one, along with Billy Laninovich. Those 2 right in the thick of this points chase. There'll be 2 keys that we'll really be paying attention to in this first heat of 20 riders for 6 laps. And there's a good look at Langston right there. You can see the rain just coming down here tonight.
Ralph, it is pouring down rain right now. Grant Langston hoping to pick up where he left off last weekend with another win. Billy Laninovich, on the other hand, he's been really consistent, but we haven't seen him on top of the box yet.
And Eric Sorby's going to carry our onboard camera for tonight, the Motorsport MDK MSR Honda onboard cam. Get a good look at it now. It's going to look a lot different after turn 1. Down goes the gate and we're off.
Like I said, Ralph, look at all the mud coming in that first turn. Half the pack is already blind, their vision gone. Getting this whole shot is key right now.
And it looks like Metcalf on the inside of the 123 had a good shot at maybe taking the lead away. Brett Metcalf on the Yamaha. Into the whoops we go, and he's into the lead. And already, riders getting stacked up, including the 196 of Levi Reed.
Sean Collier, also one of the guys down on that Lucas Oils Yamaha. So we've seen some good things from Sean these past couple weeks. Right now, buried in the back of the pack after a first turn crash.
Metcalf out front, exactly where you want to be. And you just look at the splashing as these riders pound their way through the corners.
You can see on Brett Metcalf, he's carrying a rag kind of hanging off his pants right there. You might be wondering why. If he goes down the mud, puts his gloves down, it's a quick way to try and wipe his hands off clean so he gets free grip, good grips on the handlebars.
And look at the onboard camera from Eric Sorby. Remember, you can actually see through that as we were sitting back in the gate. Now realize his goggles probably a similar view.
Yeah, you know, Eric's back in the pack right now. The water and the rain has just made this place a complete mess. You just saw Brett Metcalf using that roll-off system, trying to get clear vision. Huge advantage right now being out front. I mean, it is normally, but in the mud, twice as much.
And there's Grant Langston, just caked in the mud. Denny, what kind of things will they do to the motorcycles tonight to allow them to continue through the mud and not get clogged up with mud and water?
Well, they're packed a lot in the spaces around by the foot pegs and stuff with the foam up like foam, try and keep the mud out of there. And they've also sealed the airbox, trying to keep water, because if the motorcycle sucks water, you're going to have a DNF, and you don't want to have that.
I hope it's dry where you are. We're making our way through the muck and mire here in San Francisco. Stay with us. Look at Eric. Brett Metcalf, I should say, making his way through the rhythm section. Normally, guys would be doubling and tripling their way through that section. Tonight, you're just rolling through as we work our way through Supercross Lights Heat number 1. SBC Park in San Francisco. 3 laps left to go, and you can see Metcalf trying to get to a tear-off.
Yeah, reaching up, using the roll-off system, trying to get that clear vision. He's out in front, but he's dealing with a lot of lap traffic. And he's getting a face full of mud, but he's able to do the rhythm section. That's the biggest key right now, is he's staying smooth, doubling when he can, and not risking any big doubles and trying to stay up right now.
Two to go for Brett Metcalf.
We saw last weekend Brett taking a big crash in his heat race, going over the bars, having to go to the last chance qualifier. This weekend in San Francisco, gets the whole shot and just gets out front right now and just trying to get through these ruts. You see how deep they're getting, Ralph.
And as the night progresses, remember, this is just heat number 1. This is going to be a mess by the time we get to the main event.
Yeah, the rain's continuing to fall, and this place is just going to be a complete, well, it's already a complete quagmire. It's just going to get worse and worse. And one thing about these ruts, you know, you pick a line early in the race. That line, like this rut coming up right there, where he was going through, that rut is going to get deeper and deeper as the night goes through. You're going to have to change up your lines.
There's Grant Langston. He's up to 6th now on the Kawasaki. A rider right in the thick of this points battle for the West Coast Championship. And he knows a thing or two about winning championships in the Supercross Light Series. Yeah,
he won the East Series last year. He's a former world motocross champion. He's a former national lights champion. He's one of the most experienced riders out here, and I guarantee he's seen this type of conditions many times in his career.
Back to the leader. You see the riders in green across the top of your screen. They all hold transfer positions straight to the main event. Those in red still need to work their way forward. Oh, and Metcalf has a problem. You saw one of the other riders go down to the right of your screen, and then Metcalf has a problem.
That was a great save right there by Brett. You see how strong he was, right? He was going off the track, regrouped quickly, and got back going.
And that's the thing about a racetrack like tonight, and this one could quite possibly go down to the last lap and the last corner. On a night like tonight, you just never know what's going to happen.
Front end could drop in a rut in a moment's notice, and down you go. And just like he did, if you have to stop the motorcycle to keep from going off the track or just dropping the bike, because you don't want to drop the handlebar in the mud. The last thing you want to do is wrestle with the motorcycle. It's going to weigh about twice as much as it normally does stock, and bury the handlebar deep down in the mud.
Just rolling over what would normally be a big double jump. Brett Metcalf knows he's won, he's transferred straight through, and that is the best news he can get here tonight, because now he doesn't have to mess with this racetrack again until the main event. Go back, get yourself your motorcycle cleaned up, and get ready for tonight's main event here in a soggy SBC Park. Let's take a look to the start. This was the whole key for Brett Metcalf.
Well, this is all that mud I was talking about right there. You get buried back in the middle of the pack, you're going to get blinded. Your vision's gone. Brett Metcalf gets out front early with Teddy Mayer right there on the Kawasaki. These guys get clear. Meanwhile, everyone else buried in the pack, vision gone.
And it wasn't but another corner or two before Metcalf was out front. Really, the only problem he had tonight, right there.
Yeah, he almost goes off. If he goes off, he's down in all this mud. He's going to be down and out. He saves it, wheelies the bike around, and gets going. Good save by Brett.
Those tough blocks doing their job, helping to keep him back out onto the racetrack, and he ended up taking the win on the Yamaha. Here's a look at the results for heat number 1. Top 9 transfer straight out. So these 9 riders, including Grant Langston and Billy Laninovich, all set, as is Eric Sorby for tonight's main event. Let's head downstairs to Kristen.
Well, it was a slippery one, but a win is a win. Brett, talk about your race, talk about the conditions of the track, and you had to work for it there at the end, didn't you?
Yeah, the track's pretty horrible, but I mean, I don't know anyone who likes riding in the mud, but I just got to deal with it, you know. And I almost ghosted on the last lap there. I just lost the front end, and that's kind of scary, but that's awesome, man. I was stoked to win this heat.
He is stoked, and he is the winner of heat number 1.
Time now for our Dunlop starting list for heat number 2 for the Supercross Lights West Coast Series, and a good one here with Ramsey Short and Ryan Villapoto on this one. 3 more riders right in the middle, and Jason Lawrence on the 338. One of the young, very fast riders on his way up through this sport. Should be one to keep an eye on him. Michael Lessie as well on the 800 KTM. There is Andrew Short. He's been very, very fast. Earlier this year, or actually at the end of last year, up in Toronto on a very soft racetrack, he was a very fast rider up there.
Yeah, it was soft up in Canada, but it was dry. You know, he's going to have a whole new thing to deal with tonight in this mud and rain. Nathan Ramsey took a crash in practice in the mud. Right now, just trying to get through this heat race and get in this main event.
And then this young rider here, Ryan Villapoto. He's about 14 points back out of the championship right now. And on a night like tonight, this youngster, if he can keep his head together and get a win, well, he could really shake things up in the championship fight.
Yeah, Ryan was on a roll those first couple of rounds. Last week in Anaheim, crashed, finished back in 12th, looking to get back on the podium again.
Remember, who gets to turn 1 first will have a huge advantage from there.
Red Bull KTM's Alessi and Ramsey getting out front early. Nathan makes a mistake, but Mike Alessi, he's such a good starter. He's been kind of struggling a little bit. He's 17 years old. He's the rookie. We've expected some good things from him. Maybe he can turn around tonight in this mud.
Well, he's also a fearless rider, too.
You know, one thing about Mike, he's a great outdoor rider. He's really proven himself. This could not be any more un-Supercross-like. You know, This is outdoor national type motocross. The mud, the rain, the ruts, and he's such a talented rider. This could really play into Mike Alessi's hands right now.
And he's got the 35 giving chase right now. That's Paul Carpenter out of New York on the Honda.
Paul Carpenter from New York, he's proven to be a good mud rider. I guarantee growing up in New York, these guys have seen a lot more rain than some of these West Coast guys have.
They're Short on the outside on the 29 trying to get up into this. He's up into second place, and here comes Andrew on the Honda challenging for the lead. Going into the inside, he's going to take it, Denny.
Yeah, do you see how many things can happen in a muddy rhythm section? He went from 3rd to 1st just by taking his time, being patient, avoiding the ruts, and able to double through the whole section. Made up a ton of ground. That also could play against you. You can lose a bunch of ground just as well.
One thing I like about Andrew, he's got that huge numeral on the back of his jersey. It'd be much easier to figure out who Andrew is here tonight, because when the mud gets on these riders, forget about looking at the number plate. Even helmet colors isn't going to help you any tonight. But look at Alessi coming back to challenge. Up the end. Oh, he just about cased that one jump.
You know, this is a new Mike Alessi. He's looking a lot more confident, feeling secure. You know, the past few rounds, Mike's gotten a good start. He's always been kind of worried about what's behind him, looking around, looking nervous. He looks really confident in this track right now in this mud. Looking good. And Andrew Short, on the other hand, doing well. He had a good outdoor season as well. He won his local national track in Lakewood, Colorado. Looking good tonight. Looking to break out that tie with Grant Langston in the points.
And a good battle up front as Andrew Short leads a hard-charging Mike Alessi here in the swamp of San Francisco.
The best Supercross riders in the country. The toughest course on the circuit. Friday, March 10th, it's the Daytona Supercross by Honda. Stewart, Carmichael, Reed, and Wyndham take on Supercross's best for the most competitive, highest two-wheel melee of 2006. For tickets, call 1-800-PIT-SHOP or visit racetickets.com. See Supercross where it's meant to be seen. Under the lights at America's most famous racetrack, Daytona, the world's center of racing.
Supercross Lights heat number 2 here in San Francisco is getting to be wild as Ryan Villapoto right there on the green 51 has worked his way from 4th to 2nd. Short held the lead for quite a while. Carpenter on the 35 right there. He's your race leader at this point.
While we were away, Mike Alessi went down. He's out of the picture. He's clear back in 6th place right now, but the guy out front, Paul Carpenter, making things happen fast, and the 17-year-old Washington State native of Ryan Villapoto, who's seen rain, I guarantee, on a daily basis race almost, quickly making up ground, coming out of nowhere, trying to make a move on Paul Carpenter and get this heat race win, his first of his career if he can.
Well, and the key is you take a look at our scoring across the top of your screen. Remember, all the riders with the green numerals have already hold the transfer spot on to tonight's main event. Top 9 going straight to the main. So those riders, Villapoto, Short, all of them in a great position. Get out of this race, get off this racetrack, get yourself ready for the main event tonight.
We've always talked how important it is. There goes Villapoto into the lead, jumps right over the top of Paul Carpenter. But I'm saying it's always important to get out of your heat race and avoid that last chance qualifier. Even twice as important here tonight because of the rain. You got to get time for those mechanics to work on these motorcycles.
Villapoto and Carpenter putting on a great battle here, and Villapoto holds the lead right now, but for how long? To the checkered flag, he gets the win. We've been waiting for Ryan Villapoto to do that, and Danny, each week he's picked away at it, and tonight he's a winner in the heat race.
Look, great ride from Villapoto. He made up so much ground in just a matter of about 2 laps. This young kid, he's a sensation. He's fun to watch, and an outstanding ride tonight in this mud. Incredible.
So Andrew Short, who had led quite a while, ends up finishing 5th in this one, but he is going to transfer straight on to tonight's main event. And ultimately, that's what you've got to do here tonight on a nasty, nasty night at SBC. And look at the smile inside of Ryan's helmet. There's a lot of mud in there, but you can see those bright white teeth shining through. He's a happy guy. And let's take a look at the start.
Mike Alessi grabs an early hole shot. He's right here on the inner side of your screen. Wheeling down. Nathan Ramsey, on the other hand, he's going to go wide, kind of put it up in the tough blocks. He's going to quickly drop back. Mike Alessi grabs that hole shot. We're hoping to see some things. Mike ends up going down. He gets buried in the back of the pack.
And Villapoto was way back in there, but here's where the pass for the lead came.
Villapoto just makes something big, jumps wide, goes right over the top of Carpenter's head, makes a mistake in the rut, goes on to get the win. Great ride for Ryan Villapoto.
Look at the balance as they just work their way through those ruts and to the win for Ryan Villapoto. And let's take a look at the results, show you the 9 riders that will transfer straight on. Ramsey, Lawrence, Short, Alessi, they're all going on, as is our winner, Ryan Villapoto. And let's head downstairs to Krista Voda.
Well, I just grabbed Ryan Villapoto's back to get him up here. Very big mistake. You are a very muddy young man, but you're also a winner of this heat race. Is there any way to describe what you just went through?
Well, it's very difficult out there, you know, and it's really just a race to stay up. And I went down that in that 6 laps or whatever, and then worked my way back up, and I caught up to all of them pretty quick, and I just made my move pretty quick, and you know, it worked out for me.
We're going to let him go hose off and get ready for a very exciting final.
One last shot to make it into tonight's main event here at SBC Park in San Francisco, California. This is the Supercross Lights West Coast LCQ. Here's a look at the Dunlop starting list. Jake Weimer's going to take one more shot at it as is Colton Fasciotti on his Kawasaki, and the ruts, Denny, are going to be a big part of this final race.
Yeah, the ruts have gotten so deep in the corners and on the faces of the jumps. One thing about these ruts, you know, 1 lap, that rut could be the hot setup, a good line. Next 2 laps later, those ruts are going to develop, and they're going to get so much deeper. It's going to be the guy who's constantly changing his lines, never sticking in the same rut lap after lap, because you have to mix things up. This track is just getting treacherous each and every lap.
And Denny, those that are new to the sport might wonder, why am I even going through the ruts? There just looks like a whole bunch of other areas I could go.
Well, the rut means it's usually packed. The bottom of the rut is dry dirt, but eventually that rut's going to get deeper and deeper, and it's going to start catching your foot pegs. You finally get into one time that rut's going to be so deep, your motorcycle is basically going to get stuck.
4 laps, 20 riders, top 4 will make it on to tonight's main event. Survival the big key. Watch those big puddles to the right side of your screen as they get down to turn 1. A lot of bumping and banging going on in the front of the pack. And sailing through it all is the 89 of Eric Nye.
We usually say that the last chance qualifier is a race you want to avoid because who needs to go out and do 4 more laps? Well, that's been amplified about 10 times tonight in this rain and mud. These guys are out here, got to go 4 more laps in this deep mud. Only the top 4 are going to advance. and these guys are doing everything they can to get this main event, and then they got to run back. The mechanics got to work on the motorcycles to get that thing ready for this main event, but this last chance qualifier is the place you wanted to avoid.
Making their way through the rhythm section. Some of the riders getting a little bit more aggressive and doubling their way through. There's a good look at the 138 as well. That's Michael LaPaglia out of Murrieta, California.
And that rider 361, you mentioned Colton Fasciotti out of Canada. You know the Canadian riders dealing with a lot of mud, and Eric Knight, our leader, goes down just like that, out of transfer spot. His night is no doubt maybe ended if he cannot get that bike and restart up and restart it.
Well, we're only taking 4 riders out of this tonight's main event. He's got a lot of work out in front of him. Looks like the 636 of Vernon McKittle is our leader at this point.
Now you see all these ruts up in the corner. Knight just drops the front end, gets his foot stuck. That's one thing, you put your foot down, and when it's dry dirt, it kind of uses an anchor, holds you up. In this mud, you drop your foot down, it's going to virtually suck you and rip you off the motorcycle.
That is the 636 of McKittle out front for now as he kind of plows his way through.
Texas rider, no doubt seen lots of mud in his career as well, out front, just trying to keep that motorcycle on 2 wheels, doubling through the triple section. Coming in this corner again, is that off camber that normally would be a difficult section just because it's off camber. Tonight, just littered with ruts.
Again, as the running order scrolls across the top of your screen, remember the riders with the green numbers all have transfer positions. Those in red, like Jake Weimer, out of a transfer spot. Look at McKittle just having to pick his way through, and you can see how quickly when you get on the gas, a little too much, and around that motorcycle goes.
And down he goes, drops the front end over here through the double section, or the finish line double, down, still picks up the motorcycle in the qualifying position, but opens up the door for Michael LaPaglia on that WBR Suzuki.
So the leader is down, and we'll turn things around as LaPaglia gets out front. McKitty falling back now, and there's LaPaglia on the 138.
Paglia, a young upstart amateur rider, his first year turned pro.
Oh, struggling through there.
Basically walking the motorcycle around the track, some of these guys. It's so deep, you stand up, the front end can get stuck in a rut. So the easiest way, just stay seated and keep your feet out. Use them as almost as anchors and just kind of rudders, guiding the bike through these ruts.
But boy, you put it in the wrong hole, that could be a real problem.
Yeah, that was with Eric Nye. You know, he dipped his foot in that soft mud, and your foot just sticks. You know, and then the bike just keeps going. It just virtually rips you right off the motorcycle.
Oh, and that could be a change of position as Fasciotti comes by.
Never was it so difficult just to turn left right there, Ralph. The bike just kept catching ruts, and it just kept pushing him off into the tough blocks. Colton Fasciotti just dived to the inside. That's one reason why I use the ruts as well. The rut can almost guide your motorcycle around the track. You get off in the mud, it just kind of pushes you every which way, and as we saw with LaPaglia, he lost the position to Fasciotti. Fasciotti is Darcy Lanz's teammate, riding that Richmond Team Green Kawasaki, trying to put in the main event, trying to make his first main event of the season.
And a lot of times we talk about too, Denny, how as we're on our final lap, one advantage you can get out of running the LCQs, you get one last look at the track before the main, but on a night like tonight, that's useless.
Yeah, you know the track's going to change. It's changed drastically tonight with the rain and the mud, but you know that advantage of making this last chance is completely thrown out the window.
The physical abuse on the rider is probably a bigger problem than just about anything else. These extra few laps that the riders in the last chance qualifier had to make here tonight.
You saw briefly in the lights, the rain just continues to fall, and it's been steady rain now for almost, I'd say, a good 4 to 5 hours. This track has just turned into a complete quagmire, but it's not a real Supercross series, I say, unless you have at least one mudder.
Well, you got it.
And this is it.
You got it. No doubt about it. Riders only got one 15-minute practice session earlier today. Fasciotti takes the checkered flag. He's going on to the main. Here's the fight for the transfer spot, if you want to call it that. LaPaglia is going, Partridge is going, and McKinney will make it. He had the lead for a while, but at least he got a transfer spot out of it.
Lap times at last chance qualifier was 1:21.
There's a look at the 4 that will go on. If this racetrack had been dry tonight, it would have been
about 47 seconds.
47 seconds, yeah, exactly. Log on to speedtv.com and you can make your cell phone the coolest ride in town with custom wallpapers, high-octane ringtones from Speed Mobile. Satisfy your need for speed and soup up your cell phone today. For more, visit speedtv.com. It has been a wet and wild night of racing here in San Francisco, but the main event is coming up for the Amped Mobile AMA Supercross Lights West Coast Series. Stay with us for the action here on Speed. AMA Supercross from Anaheim. James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael, and Chad Reed are locked in a fierce points battle. So don't miss a minute of the action. AMA Supercross from Anaheim tomorrow at 5 Eastern, only on Speed. Well, these die-hard, dedicated Supercross Lights fans out here in Northern California, covered up in all their rain gear, but cheering loudly as we get set for the main event tonight here at SBC Park. Let's take a look at our Dunlop starting list for tonight's main event. And some of the guys in the middle of the points chase, right in this one: Grant Langston, Nathan Ramsey, Andrew Short. Well, it's going to be a good one, Denny.
3 different riders open up the season of 1 main event. Tonight's a big opportunity for a 4th, I think. Ryan Villapoto looked really good in practice, or in his heat race. He's kind of my wild card for this main event here in this mud here in San Francisco.
Well, in a night like tonight, a wild card's a good one to play. Well, tires will certainly be an issue in tonight's main event. For more on what's going on with the tires here tonight, let's check in with Krista with a Progressive Direct pre-race report.
On a night like tonight, a lot of teams are treading water, literally. We want to talk about tires, specifically the treads. Check this out. On a normal night, the guys would be using something like this. Look at all these treads. They're meant to ride on the surface. Look at this one. This is what the teams are using tonight. Notice all the extra spacing that you don't have over here. They're a little more self-cleaning. The mud doesn't get stuck and therefore doesn't weigh the guys down.
Getting ready for the Supercross Lights West Coast main event here at SBC Park in San Francisco. The riders are in the gate. Everybody trying to be as enthusiastic as they can as they wait for the gate to drop, and this one gets underway.
Coming in from the outside, it's Ryan Villapoto, Mike Alessi. Villapoto was outstanding in his heat race, came from way back in the pack, made up tons of ground very quickly. He has got to be the favorite right now, this young rider from Paulsbo, Washington, on that Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. This is his chance to just blow everyone's mind, get out front, and just take off in this main event.
Well, we said a night like tonight, with conditions that we have here, is a great equalizer. We also talked about the fact that this young rider is really a fearless, tremendously gifted rider, and on a night like tonight, you need to be confident in your own skills and not worried or scared of anything or anyone else.
Well, when it started raining, I guarantee Ryan Villapoto's young grin just got bigger. I mean, just within a half a lap, he's opened up a ton of ground. He's doubled 2 sections, and Grant Langston down, our points leader.
And this is only an 8-lap main event tonight because of the conditions. They've shortened the race. So Villapoto is going to get a little help from that as well. And when a guy like Langston goes down, Denny, Villapoto was only what?
Look at Villapoto trying to jump the finish line, doubling, goes down.
Not what you needed to do on a night like tonight. And is that Metcalf going by? It is. So Metcalf takes the lead. That is not what you needed to do. Brett Metcalf out into the lead. Is that just youth and enthusiasm catching him out?
Youthful exuberance.
Yeah.
Out of control right there. I said how Ryan Villapoto had opened up a huge lead just so quickly by jumping all the rhythm sections. And then first lap just goes for a crazy move over the big finish line double. Cases it, goes sideways and goes down. But he is up and he's in 4th place. So he did not lose a lot of ground. He could still come to the pack. It's opened up the door for Brett Metcalf in 1st and Nathan Ramsey here in 2nd. This is a huge chance for Nathan Ramsey to make us some big points.
Nathan Ramsey, a winner already on the tour, and now right in the middle of the points chase, has a real shot with Langston having trouble, Villapoto having trouble, and Metcalf out in front, who's not as close in the points. Well, this is a great opportunity for Nathan Ramsey on the KTM.
The other points leader, who's tied with Grant Langston, Andrew Short. Ralph, he's buried back in 12th.
Tough night for Short, who looked pretty good in his heat race.
You see the top of your screen right now, Mike Alessi moves into that third spot on Red Bull KTM. Red Bull KTM riders running second and third with Brett Metcalf out front. Just see how difficult that track is right there, Ralph. That's how these guys got to, in their heat race, they were basically doubling through it. Right now, having to single each and every jump.
Well, earlier tonight, there's a good look at Langston on the 8, trying to gather himself back up. Langston is way back in 15th. Billy Laninovich, by the way, another one of those in the thick of the points chase, is running in 6th, and he can hang in there. But Metcalf on the 123 bobbles, and there goes Ramsey for the lead.
Now you see Nathan went to the inside. He used the rut, while Metcalf chose to go outside where it's a little bit sloppier. Instead of using the rut, Nathan used it. He propelled him through the mud, while Metcalf kind of got stuck in the mud, got cross-rutted, was able to get through that section. Nathan just rocking it out front.
I know for a lot of the folks, Kenny, sitting at home, they're thinking, boy, you know, these guys really aren't going that fast. How tough can it be? Mentally, this has got to be one of the most draining types of races you can run.
Mentally and physically, there's absolutely no time for these guys to rest anywhere. Look at them go through this section. They're just rolling through it. Ruts, mud everywhere, not sure where to put the front end. You put it in the wrong spot, it's going to stick, and you're going to go over the bars. This is a true test right here. Main event's been cut down to 8 laps. Lap times are up to 1:14, comparably around 50 seconds if the track was dry. This is a true test of the Ironman, and Nathan Ramsey out front.
For some riders who will struggle tonight, this will be the type of night you can't wait to see end, like for Andrew Short, who sits back in 11th and sees his shot at being atop the points just drifting away with every corner here tonight. On the other hand, for a rider like Nathan Ramsey or Michael Alessi sitting in 3rd, this is the kind of night you can really build on your season.
This is what the lights class is all about. It's always one of the most exciting races. We've had 3 different winners in 3 events. We have 4 guys all bunched up at the top of the points list. This is incredible. Nathan Ramsey taking huge advantage of tonight's mud.
They're close to the halfway point here in San Francisco. Stay with us for the wild finish. Way through the muck here in San Francisco. The rain has let up, and oh, Ramsey almost gets crossed up. Nathan Ramsey on the number 25 KTM is your race leader here at SBC Park. But it has certainly not been smooth sailing.
Jumping through the rhythm section, Nathan is right there. He's focusing, he's putting both wheels in the same rut, which can be so difficult in the mud. Just rolling through the sections at the top. He's got both feet out, kind of like rudders, picking the right lines at the right time. Pulling away right now. He's opened up over a 6-second lead on Brett Metcalf in 2nd, and Mike Alessi back in 3rd.
And Denny, as deep as those ruts are, it is so easy to get one of the wheels, either the front or the rear, up and out of the rut. And if you do that, boy, that just throws you completely out of whack.
They call it cross-rutting when you can't get the front wheel and the rear wheel in the same rut. And these guys, which makes it any more difficult, you're going to, especially if they're doubling and jumping, you're leaving the ground in one rut. 20, 30 feet later, you got to plan and put that front wheel and rear wheel in another rut. Halfway point here, we're 4 laps in.
And remember, they've shortened this race down to just 8 laps. Originally, it was scheduled for 15, as is every round with the Amped Mobile AMA Supercross Light Series. But due to the treacherous conditions, the race shortened to 8. So we're past the halfway point for Ramsey. 1:18.4 is his current lap time. His best 4 seconds better than that at a 1:14, but still way off of what we expected would have been, a high 40-second lap.
Yeah, this is the treacherous conditions. It's making the race, these lap times twice long, but these guys are using so much energy just wrestling the motorcycle around the track. Absolutely no time to rest, physically or mentally, like you said.
And Denny, to give you an idea, the average lap time of heat number 1 was 58 seconds. Yeah. So we've 20 seconds slower now as we get to the main event. Oh, look at Ramsey just trying to get away from the top blocks. And you can see the gap back and the fight for second. Metcalf and Alessi. Difference of about 6 seconds. Metcalf's about 5.5 behind Ramsey.
Just walking it through that section, just so patient, rolling it over. I mean, just the simplest things are so much more difficult when a muddy conditions like this. That's the finish line double, usually clearing that right there. That's where we saw Ryan Villapoto go on the opening lap, go down. Nathan now just singling, rolling through it, coming up to another rhythm section.
And Ryan right now, Villapoto back in fourth. Ramsey working his way around the 114, I believe that was.
Short is back in 11th still, and Grant Langston still in 14th, not making up the needed ground. And I think Nathan Ramsey just been eating up points tonight, making up lost ground. He lost that opening round in Anaheim when he crashed and finished 12th.
That was Justin Brayton on that 114. Ramsey having to survive 2 more laps. Look at the riders scattered around.
Michael Lapaglia wrestling his motorcycle off the side of the track in the tough blocks.
It's got to be so hard when you get out front and things are running well.
Grant Langston right there, top of your screen, about ready to go a lap down. Andrew Short just in front of Langston.
Langston's in 14th, Short's in 13th.
Amazing change of events. That's what happens in the mud.
White flag is out, 1 to go. Well, now that white flag's kind of a dirty brown, huh?
Looked more yellow to me. But white flag is out, only 1 lap to go. It's a short main event here in San Francisco, and Nathan Ramsey taking full advantage of other riders' mistakes, putting that Red Bull KTM out in front.
And this will probably be one of the more gratifying wins for Ramsey on the season.
And his second one as well. I mean, he's been up and down his career. Lots of, he was a Supercross rider, and he dropped back down to the lights class. He's been working so hard with his coach, Buddy Antonez, his team manager, Larry Brooks, getting the job done tonight in San Francisco.
And the thing too, Denny, is these guys don't get much of an opportunity to practice this type of racing.
Now,
on a muddy day.
Well, Nathan lives in Southern California for one. Doesn't rain a lot in Southern California. And for two, when it rains, the last thing you want to do is go tear up your Supercross track, you know, because so these guys racing Supercross and racing in the mud happens very rarely. I think guarantee last time they probably did it was last year in Anaheim 1. Do you think Nathan Ramsey ever expected to be lapping Grant Langston?
No, but Metcalf's not far behind him, right there. So this one is not done yet.
Oh, here he comes.
Here he comes. This is going to go down to the last corner. If he bobbles, it's over. Metcalf trying to get around the outside. Can't get there. Just can't get there. There's Mike.
Mike Alessi going for his first podium in Supercross, a change of events. I said in this heat race how much different he looked, how much more confident he looked. This suits his style. An outstanding ride. Mike Alessi going to take third. Its first career podium, the young 17-year-old.
What a huge shot. There's Buddy Antonez right there. Congratulating his rider.
Pumped up. That's what he's talking about, working so hard, and this is the reward right here. KTM putting 2 riders on the podium.
Let's take a look at the whole shot, the Progressive Direct whole shot.
Coming in, Ryan Villapoto is going to come rocking in. Here's Mike Alessi and Villapoto banging bars, almost take each other down. Brett Metcalf right there. Nathan Ramsey, he's in third, battling with Metcalf. But Villapoto is going to go get the whole shot. You think he's going to pull away early in the first lap, makes a foolish mistake, goes down early and opens up the door for Nathan Ramsey.
And there's Ramsey just beating Metcalf to the line. Boy, Brett Metcalf did a great job of making up about 5.5 seconds near the end of that race to close the gap, but he still finishes second to Nate Ramsey. And we'll talk to the KTM rider Ramsey when we come back. Well, a crazy night of racing, and it ends up with Nathan Ramsey at the top of the podium. Brett Metcalf chasing him across the line. Jason Lawrence did an outstanding job of coming through the pack to finish 4th tonight. Villapoto led it for a while. He ends up 6th. Billy Laninovich riding in the points chase ends up with 7th. He'll lose some points tonight. Let's head downstairs. Here's Krista with our 3rd place finisher.
Talking to our 3rd place finisher, Mike Alessi, and he is so happy to be up here. I mean, what a great race. What a wild race, though.
Yeah, for sure. You know, I got a great start. I thought I actually had the whole shot, but I didn't know it was all the way to the double. But I got a great start. I was running up front, and I actually fell twice during that race, and I picked my bike up and still came back and got 3rd. I just want to thank all the guys at KTM Red Bull team and Alpine Stars, Smith, God, my mom and dad, and my girlfriend Danielle, everybody who supported me. It just feels so good right now, especially after the first couple races, a 10th, a 9th, and a 7th. It feels good to get back on the podium finally.
And I know you're always one of those controversial figures in the sport of Supercross. How good does it feel to be up here, especially after those adverse conditions? And do you feel like this is maybe something that the fans can get behind you on?
Yeah, hopefully, for sure. I mean, I love racing, and this is what I do, and I'm so glad to be here, and it feels so good. Thank you.
Congratulations. Michael Lessie, our third place finisher.
Well, we knew this would affect the points, and boy, did it ever. Denny, look at that. Nathan Ramsey now with 5-point lead over Billy Laninovich.
Short and Langston dropped to 3rd and 4th, man. The lights class is all about shaking it up tonight. Big shake up here in San Francisco.
Well, Brett Metcalf is 6 of the points now, 19 back. He was second tonight and stands by with Kristen.
Brett Metcalf, what is he? He finishes second in the main, and I know you are so excited to be up here, Brett.
Yeah, I'm super happy to be second. I got a good start again, and Yamaha's been getting really good starts, Pirelli tires, and I'm just stoked, man. As Nate Dogg was pushing a little more aggressive at the start and passed me, and I kind of just got going a little bit, and then right at the end, I came right up on it. It was close, but I'm stoked to be second, man. It's cool, and it's awesome for myself and the team. They really need it. My mechanic Keith, the whole team manager Dave, Frenchie, everyone, and big thanks to Ross. Just everyone, and my whole family's back home and listening, and I'm stoked, and I like to thank my girlfriend and everything. It's just awesome.
So close to first, but he is so happy to have second.
Well, one of the things these fans love is Big Air, and our Buku Big Air of the night came from Ryan Villapoto. It looked great while he was out front in the lead, but then he didn't end the way he was hoping it would.
Yeah, foolish mistake by the young rider. Biggest air we saw all night, but he quickly lands on the ground, cross ruts, crashes out of the lead, crashes back to 6th. Big disappointment for Ryan Villapoto.
Well, let's head downstairs to Krista, who's got the man who inherited the lead after that, Nathan Ramsey, our winner.
Well, you would have thought he just won the championship. He's that excited. Nathan Ramsey, our winner tonight. And have you ever had a race like that?
You know what? Last year Anaheim 1 was pretty bad, but this was a little bit different. It stopped raining, so when it stops raining, everything gets really, really tight. But the Red Bull KTM is it's proven in the mud. That thing just takes me around the track, and I'm just along for the ride. I couldn't be happier. Just want to thank God for keeping me safe out there in my MSR gear. Everybody for supporting me, and my wife, who's always just 100% behind me. It's awesome. It feels great. It was just, battle of just staying up out there.
Nathan Ramsey, our winner, and he makes a huge statement in this championship chase, guys.
And with that win, Nathan Ramsey puts himself in a great position atop the point standings. And Denny, when this year began, I don't think many of us would have believed he'd be there at this stage of the year.
Yeah, he opens up the season with a disappointing 12th, but rebounds with 2 wins out of the last 3 weekends, and now he heads to Anaheim 3 with a 5-point lead. Shows what hard work gets it done, and Nathan Ramsey got her done tonight in San Francisco.
Well, the racing wore her out tonight, but hopefully she'll be rested up for our next show. As you can see from our Toyota schedule, the next Supercross show here on Speed comes your way from Anaheim tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The next Supercross Lights West Coast event here on Speed is also from Anaheim, Saturday, February 11th at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully you can join us for both of those shows. What a wild night of racing it was here at SBC Park. Looked like Ryan Villapoto might be the guy, but instead it was Nathan Ramsey who goes on to take his second win of the year. We sure hope you enjoyed it. It was one of the slower races of the year, but certainly didn't lack anything when it came to excitement. For Chris Devoda and Denny Stevenson, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from San Francisco.